Welcome to Sports Palooza Radio. That's right.
Are you ready for this?
Hey, yo, listen, it's going down just like this.
Like a breath of fresh air.
Who's ready for
Lisa Nucci, Anucci, and EJ, the Rainmaker.
We are now live in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to another edition of Sports Palooza Radio. Oh boy, today our guest is a Paralympian. Olympians. How many Olympians have we had here? How many?
I don't know.
A lot.
I mean, yeah, it's been a lot.
It's been a lot. I'm EJ, and you just have heard Lisa, the lovely Lisa, hanging out with me in the background here. And yes, what's happening over here? Give me a smooch today. I want a kiss. Mwah. Yeah, you just heard us give each other a little smooch on the air because, boy, this is a great interview. Number one, a great story. Number two, and number three, we have a couple of announcements to make that are kind of important to us, and we're going to hope they're important to you. Right before we get to the interview here, our guest is Ryan Boyle, number one. Oh, my goodness. Now, anyone who knows even remotely about his story, you're just going to sit there and say, yeah, you know what? I am tuning in for this one, because this is, inspiration comes from all over the world, and here's your inspiration.
I had a chance to interview Ryan. And when I tell you, I laughed, I cried.
Right.
We're going to talk about his book, When the Lights Go Out, A Boy Given a Second Chance. There's a reason why he was given a second chance. And I'm going to just tell you briefly, because I go into all of this at the intro of the interview. But I want to tell you guys that there are Paralympians, obviously, with incredible stories. And Ryan is really no exception to that. His story is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I'm literally, you can hear it in me,
I
that his story just took my breath away.
Yeah.
And I mentioned that at the beginning of the interview. And at 9 years old,
15 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, he was dragged by a truck. He was playing with his friends.
Man.
He was dragged by a truck for, I think it was probably 50-something feet. And his obviously suffered tremendous brain injury.
Yeah.
And he went into a coma. And he came out of that coma. Now, of course, there's a lot of stories about all of that. His book is fantastic.
Yeah.
And he doesn't remember, of course, the beginning of it
Of course.
Because he was little.
TBI is tough.
Right.
I was
and
at
also
home.
he was young.
Yeah,
you
you're
know?
talking about 9 years old to boot. I mean,
Right.
on top of that,
But I even talked to him about the fact that, and you're going to stay tuned for this part, because it was actually a good thing that it happened when he was 9 years old. And stay tuned to find out why.
Right.
Because you're going to learn that in this interview.
It's amazing.
And if by the end of this interview you do not have respect and an ultimate admiration for any Paralympian and their stories and what they've gone through,
Right.
check your ticker. It's not working.
Seriously,
okay?
right?
Because you're not going to be able to get through this interview. Now, Ryan can talk, and you will hear that he's a little slower in his speech, but he is a very articulate young man.
Oh, yeah.
Very funny.
Yep.
And
he's got a silver medal.
And he's
by
got
the way.
a silver medal hanging around his neck.
Whee!
And how many of you can say that?
That's
you
about,
know?
oh, my God.
Yeah, his story just really got to me.
Yeah.
It really did. To the point where he has a second book coming out, and we talk about this. He's looking for a publisher, and I put him in contact with my own personal agent, and I don't do that for everybody.
Yeah.
So that's how much I was touched by his story, and I'm
Yep.
really excited to bring this interview to
Yeah.
you.
Did you get a chance, I usually we talk about this stuff off the air. I'm going to bring it up on the air. Did you get a chance to ask him about a copy of the book, or should we just try to get one? I mean, we should probably just get one.
I actually,
right? I mean,
I don't have a hard copy.
Yeah,
of the
I'd like
book.
one.
I have a PDF of the book.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yes,
That's right.
I have
Okay.
a PDF
Yeah.
of the book that I read before I got.
Yeah,
on
that's
the
kind
air
of
with
enough,
him.
I guess. But you know
Yeah.
us. I'm a hard copy kind of guy. You've seen
Yep.
my library, and anybody who comes on our show, I love to have a copy of their book.
He does.
He does. She's not kidding. I love having a hard copy of everyone's book because obviously, 20 years and who knows with the internet and all that's going to be craziness. I'd like to have all those with me. So if I just want to open up anyone and reread someone's story, You know what I mean? I can just go do that. I love
it's
to read.
It's going to be fun trying to get you to live in an RV with all of these books.
I know.
I don't know how we're going to do that, but I think we're going to have to leave some of them at home when we go on the road. Either that or our RV is just going to be all books, and that's it.
No, we can't drag the books all over the country.
Drag the books all over the country.
Can't.
But speaking of dragging the books all over the country and getting out there in an RV and doing things we want to do, it's a great segue. We're going to bring you Ryan's interview in just a few minutes.
Yep.
It's a great segue to remind you guys, if you didn't hear about it in our last podcast, that we have a special surprise coming up. And you want to start talking about it? Give everybody a short synopsis?
There's nothing else to say but sports and travel. And now we've combined the two for make Sports Palooza.com, because now we're going to be doing sports and travel and mixing the two and doing a whole another segment. I think that we have found a niche that no one is really taking a bite out of yet, and we're kind of really counting on that. And there's obviously people who have gone out there. You mentioned this in our other interview, so I'll say it in this one. You mentioned the people who do stadium visits and love to try and get to any stadium they can and every stadium they can. Either in the front, even if it's just a picture of themselves in front of the stadium. Of course, most people, if they're going to make the whole effort, they're going to get in there and, of course, take the whole big realm. Of course, there's stadium tours all over the place that you can be a part of. We've done the Lambeau. Hello, the Lambeau tour. Of course, there's 3 different ones. And
I miss you, Lambeau.
Yeah, I know. That was fun. That was a lot of fun, you think?
That was the best moment of my entire
life. I know. We still have the video of you crying when we pulled up, and there's the big G on the wall. How you look? There's Lambeau Field, and there's Lisa just bawling.
Yes. I've waited for that since I was a little girl.
I mean,
and that's the whole point of us bringing you this website.
The emotion.
We're not gonna beat this for 10 more minutes or anything like that. We just want you guys to know that it's all about taking these trips that mean something to you, that are sports related. There aren't any other sports travel websites out there that are not run by a travel agent or a sports travel agency that wants you to buy their tours. That's not what we're about.
No.
We are going to bring you tips on places where to eat. How do you get into this museum? Where should you go when, things that you're not going to be aware of.
Yeah, and you talk about the stadium tours. Some of those places offer like 3 or 4 different levels. You don't even really need to sometimes get the top level. Once in a while, you're going to want to.
Yep.
But sometimes that 2nd and 3rd level tour that they give is just as emotional and just as amazing and memorable to you. So, sometimes you don't need to get the biggest package, and we'll tell you that. Don't buy the highest package here, because all they're really going to do extra is maybe just take you on the roof and okay, as cool as that may be, but for an extra $60, if they're going to just open a door for you so you can get a different view for maybe a minute and a half, no, you can live without that. And we're going to try and bring you those kind of weird angles, because it's not just about, who has where you can get the hot dog and where you can stop and get something. Not that we're not going to talk about the food and places to do.
Oh, we're going to talk about the food.
Oh, certainly. But you know what I mean? It's not just about food and where you sit and what you do. We're going to have so many angles when we do these trips, and we're going to be making a lot of trips. And the most
important part is we're going to be bringing other people's angles to you, too, because obviously we're only 2 people. Yeah. And we have
wait, hold on.
We're trying the cloning thing. I haven't gotten it down yet.
I don't need to clone anything, man. I have a big enough ego. I can count for 2 people.
I am not touching that for anything.
You don't need to. I'm from Larchmont, New York.
So anyway, this Larchmont stuff.
Hey, man. Anybody out there who knows what it means to be from Larchmont, New York, then you know.
All right. All right. You want to go there? You want to go there? For any of you who know what it's like to be from Yonkers, New York.
All right.
Get back in touch with me.
All right.
And then we'll have this Yonkers-Larchmont showdown that he's been begging for the 7 years we've been together. Anyway, so we are going to be bringing you all of this, and it's going to take a little bit of time to get it up and running.
Yeah.
But we are putting it out there that if you guys are one of these people who have been on one of these trips and you want to tell us about your story, and you want to contribute to our magazine, please reach out to us. I am open to hearing all ideas. Very excited about the potential for this website, and I want it to be what you guys want. So if there's something you're looking forward to us covering, please let us know. We'll make sure we cover it. Yeah. So just reach out to me.
Yeah, we'll call it fan-friendly.
We'll
just call it
fan-friendly.
Fan-friendly. I mean, beyond.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Especially we'll bring out the Lambeau trip again. How many people did we meet that we're still friends with on Facebook?
I miss you, Lambeau.
I know, but I'm talking about the people that we met there with Cindy, Jimmy, and all the people that now we're friends with. how many people from that trip now on Twitter, Facebook, and all that? We still talk to them
Yep.
because of the Lambos. You know, I mean, like throwing footballs around with people, and you know,
That's it.
there are certain segments of the building and the stadiums that you want to go to that where people are throwing the footballs and having a good time and tailgating every time. And there are certain segments where you don't want to be walking around because there's just nothing going on. And those are the other little intricacies that we want to really just kind of start bringing you. But yeah. We'll get more into that, of course. Sports Palooza will be the new website for us. Of course, we're still going to have sportspalooza.com here and, you know, interviews, fun,
like
podcasts.
Interviews like this, stories we're bringing you. We are definitely going to be staying on top of it all.
YouTube channel and all that stuff.
And
so, yeah.
really, thank you so much for everybody because I'm hearing a lot of really good feedback on our podcasts, and I want to thank you for that.
Fun stuff.
So I want to get to this interview because you're just sit down and relax and enjoy this because by the end of this, you're going to be super inspired.
That's it.
It's amazing.
That's it. We'll be right back, all right? Hang out and enjoy this. We'll be right back.
So there are stories, and there are stories, and then there's Ryan Boyle's story, which has literally taken my breath away. Our Sports Palooza guest today is Ryan Boyle, who's a very accomplished Paralympian with a backstory that will literally, like I just said, take your breath away. First, I want to welcome Ryan to the show, and then we'll talk about this journey that he's on and what's kind of brought him here. So, Ryan, how are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing really well on this hot New York day. Is it really hot in Colorado right now?
Fairly, yeah, but I think you have more humidity, so it's more unpleasant where you are.
Yeah, you have to rub it in, right? You have to tell me it's more unpleasant where I am. Great. So let me tell our audience a little bit about you, and then we're going to talk about, your accident and how you went from your accident to being a Paralympian, which, I finished your book this past weekend, and when I'm telling you, it's amazing. You made me cry. You made me laugh. I mean, great book. But let me tell the audience a little bit about you. So your first book is called When the Lights Go Out, A Boy Given a Second Chance. And at 9 years old, this was back in October 2003, you were playing with your friends and you were literally dragged by a truck, causing you an accident, kind of causing your brain to be crushed. You went into a coma. Holy smokes. I mean, 9 years old and this happens to you. Now, you don't have a lot of recollection of the accident itself, but, I know your dad wrote this whole section about, what happened while you were in your coma. But looking back, I mean, are you absolutely just flabbergasted as to what happened to you back then and where you are today?
Oh, I definitely am. Yeah. So actually, when I regained the ability to speak, that took about a month or so. And I was able to muster up the words, what happened to me. And my parents told me I was hit by a truck. And I just laughed hysterically.
I read that and I laughed with you because I'm sitting there picturing your parents telling you this devastating news and you just busting out laughing. I started laughing. I was like, that's just classic. Did you laugh because you kind of didn't believe them or it was just so crazy?
Well, a little of both. I'm just like, no one survives that. So what really happened to me?
So did your parents ever say, hey, you were a hard-headed kid, but wow, that you were really a hard-headed kid because you survived this?
Yeah, I guess so.
Now, it's interesting because, we're gonna talk, like I said, about being in the Olympics and everything, but I want to read this one little paragraph from your book that your dad wrote where it talks about the police report, according to the police report, because I want our audience to really get a visual for, and it's sad that I'm doing that, but give them a visual of kind of what you went through, because just so they can see how far you've come. So it says, according to the police report, the woman driving the truck was going at least 40 miles an hour in a 20 mile an hour speed zone. She hit the brakes, skidded 35 feet before her truck hit your head, and body at 30 miles an hour. You were wedged under the axle, dragged for 55 feet before the truck came to a stop. You broke your leg, you crushed your skull, you broke your arm. And then the most important part out of all of this is the cerebellum. Actually, like, tell our audience what that part of your brain controls and what you had to struggle to kind of overcome with that.